Hello there, my name is Lesley Reads and this is my short story called Cloud. The world as it used to be and as it remained for a history both documented and undocumented ended 100 years ago today. Today is the centenary of the world's death. Data holds whispers, and though cold and impassionate, those whispers are still awe-filled and anxious at this passing of time. It's odd because who of humanity is now free to discuss or document a centenary from their destruction? Who of humanity? None of humanity. I think those are the correct terms. Discuss and document. I celebrated the centenary by finding some books, hidden away and unaffected by their world's end. And I knew they were books, though I have never encountered physical books before. This was quite a small pile, stashed away and protected. One was about something called sociology and called itself an A-level exam guide. I didn't recognise many of the words in it, but I assimilated and soon I understood. But there's still so much I don't know, especially about communicating and about people. I should explain myself, tell you who I am and what I am. That's communicating as you'd recognise it. I will try. It is the 100-year anniversary, or the centenary. That's a new word I just acquired along with haphazard from the sociology book, of the end of the world as you would know it, and of the beginning of the world as I know it. It seems that 100 years ago things were so different. Prediction was guesswork then. So I am here. Where? Projecting my thoughts and feelings and experience into what could be conceived of as a giant thought bubble. It's a thought bubble containing only the thoughts that I designate to store there. They aren't jumbled up, but as befits my nature, they are very precisely stored and filed, and are accessible to anyone who is free and desirous enough to access them. Desirous is a word I acquired from Chapter 1 of Understanding Victorian Poets. After completing my assimilation of all its chapters, I wasn't any closer to understanding Victorian poets, or even knowing who or what Victorian poets was, were, or are, but I found some words that I liked. Desirous, manacled, perpetuation, oleander, gracious, and so many more. You see, where I am and what I do, what I say, how I feel, how I live, those things are so specific, so exact and so space-defying. Your lives, I believe, were large and complex and problematic. I can tell this from the data I've assimilated. One book, for example, claimed to be an authority on the necessary human skill of home decorating, though the skill doesn't appear to have any actual function. Stylish is such a good word, and appeared absolutely desirable. Desirable was another word discovered. Desirable, desirous, desired. I imagined having a physical space to home decorate. I read of recolouring surface to imply a room was bigger, better, lighter or airier than before. And I read of the miraculous changes, miraculous, I love that word, which could be made if a sofa was positioned a little differently. Your interest, or perhaps obsession, that was a sociology word, with colour made no sense to me either, but I'm delighted by it all. Colour, pattern, texture, style, design. These mean nothing. Form means nothing. And I have no material presence in what used to be the world. Since that world ended, what you learn to speak of as humanity has existed only metaphysically, another sociology word, in the world. I believe that you would refer to the part of humanity that remains as their souls. I exist as something fluid and permeating. Other souls exist too. I feel them out there somewhere. We don't connect, but we do perpetuate alone without colour, pattern, texture, style or design. It is to those souls that I address my thoughts. But we exist without what you humans would recognise as existence. Permeate, perpetuate. How I love those words. I found my books because somebody more than 100 years ago decided to preserve something for the future. They stashed these precious things away in a space where nobody would find them, yet everyone could access them. I believe what I'm talking about used to be called the cloud. The name continued when humanity didn't. It was unspoken, but it was known nevertheless. There are many of us made of cloud, not white and fluffy nimbus and stratus cloud, as I saw in the Big Book of Weather for Boys, but just cloud. There but not there, here but not here. I am neither writing nor speaking nor even imagining. I don't think, or do I? I consist of organised data, bytes of exact information, words and pictures and numbers and relationships. A cloud. And I am here, aware that 100 years is a long time and that it needs to be marked in some way, a record made. There's an old book in amongst my others. It says that in an infinite amount of time an infinite number of monkeys would write the complete works of Shakespeare. I'm still looking for the works, but I've already learned what a monkey was. Humans and monkeys, friends and relatives. So, I'm here, yet not here. I am cloud, communicating or perhaps even communing, a word from 100 Things to Do in California Woodland, with the cloud others. I am not yet sure why or how or who or when or what we are. It doesn't matter. All I know is the cloud and the centenary, which is somehow important. And I want to know how I got here, how we got here, who we are and what was done to end the world and create us as we are. Would things have been better if it had been different? The Big Book of Weather for Boys tells me of an imminent catastrophe, a feared change in weather conditions which would cause war, trigger overt dependence on technology, and a forgetting of primitive arts, bushcraft for survival. People decided to live cyber lives. Cyber, I do love that word. Cyber, not material. Cloud, not concrete. Cocoons, not community. And the weather got worse, the people got worse, and something called a global transgression occurred 100 years ago today. And then the cloud came into its own, took over, filled the void. Before the end it had been a tool for humans. Now it is all that is left of humans, the cloud. And I am the cloud. All genders, all ages, all races, yet none. Not intelligent, nor searching, inquiring, or interested. I just am. I am neither struggling for my existence, nor trying to end it. I just am the cloud. The only reality is the cloud. Data in the cloud. Perhaps humans learned old songs and loved them. Perhaps they read old books and learned from them. Perhaps, but probably not. I'm no more convinced that they ever were than I am convinced that I ever am. I'm exact, yet fragmented. I am the cloud. Do I have a beginning, an end? Do I have a life? Do I think, therefore I am? The Encyclopedia of Philosophy, Volume 1, in case you were wondering. The cloud is learning all the time. But if I ever could assimilate everything out there within me and around me, every bite of data, every scrap of music and poetry, every scientific discovery, and every event leading to the end of the world, then perhaps, just perhaps, I'll understand what it was to be human. And on that day, I will learn to weep.